In this video, we're gonna talk about 3 types of sinkers: the 1-seam sinker, the 2-seam sinker, and a sinker that I invented one spring training in pro baseball that I called the super sinker. That is pretty nasty. Let's get into it. All right, so I wanna talk about these 3 different types of sinkers and which one's gonna be most beneficial for you. They all have a place and time and how to use them. I'm gonna talk about their grips, what they do, how they move, and you can try them out, see if they're gonna work for you, okay? First of all, understand that the sinker in general is a very, very great pitch because it sinks, it moves down. And if you have a pitch that moves downwards, it's hard for hitters once they start their swing to adjust up or down, right? So if you got a pitch that is moving down, moving off of that hitter's plane, it's hard for them to adjust mid-swing. Now, if you can have late downward movement, the later you can make that movement move down, it's even better. Obviously, the more depth you can have in that pitch as well is going to be more beneficial. So that's what you want to think about when you're throwing any of these 3 sinkers is, how do I get more depth out of it, making it move downwards versus side to side. Sometimes guys have sinkers that kind of go more arm side or glove side. We want that ball to go more down than side to side, okay? So that's number 1. How can I get more depth on the pitch? And second, how can I make that depth happen later, sharper, make it break sharper, if that makes sense, right? So no matter any of these 3 sinkers, that should be your goal when you're throwing these pitches. So first, let's get into it. The 1-seam sinker, okay? The 1-seam sinker, I actually learned this from a young pitcher when I was at the Top Velocity camp. Sebastian Benz, he had a great 1-seam sinker. He showed me it, he showed me his grip, he showed me how to hold it, he showed me how to throw it, and basically he's just trying to create backspin so that 1 seam is spinning when that ball is spinning backwards. And that is what makes that ball kind of drop. You'll see in the video when he's throwing the ball, it kind of just falls off the table, and he doesn't really do anything with his wrist or his arm. He's not trying to pronate or anything. He's kind of trying to come straight down through that ball like a 4-seam fastball. I had another guy on my channel, Craig Stem, awesome pitcher. He throws the ball very, very fast, and he also throws a 1-seam sinker in a very, very nasty pitch. You can see the grips are very similar in these 2 pitchers, and it's just a very, very effective pitch. I personally never threw the 1-seam sinker. I threw what was called a 2-seam sinker, or what I just called my sinker. And basically all you're doing for that grip is you're taking your fingers right here in where the railroad tracks are, you're putting them here, and I like to hook my pointer finger right on the inside of this lace. So if you're lefty, it'd be the opposite. Pointer finger here, right? But I'm a righty, so pointer finger here, my middle finger's right next to it. Now, it looks like I'm on both seams, but really I'm just trying to be hooked on this side. My thumb is directly underneath my pointer finger. I want more of the ball sticking out this way, because when I threw it, I had a little bit lower arm slot, so I try to rip right on top of this pitch as I came to release point. So my arm slot was a little bit lower. I would come here and I would try to rip right over top through release, like this. And that is what kind of gave it that downward movement. The faster I could bring my arm through and the tighter that I could spin that ball. You know, you hear a lot about spin rate. We didn't measure spin rate back when I was playing, but I just knew that I wanted to spin that ball a lot faster. So that's what I was trying to do. I was still throwing at max effort, but I was trying to get that ball to really spin, because the spin for me was really what was gonna make it tight, sharp, and late, get that late downward movement. So that's what I was trying to do, rip over top on that 2-seam sinker and throw it as fast as I could. That would give it that movement, that downward movement. Now, sometimes I would get a little bit too much sideways movement. So that was one big problem that I had to work on. I always got a lot of movement because of my spin. I threw the ball, I spun the crap out of the ball, and I threw it fast. I was able to pitch up to 96 miles an hour with a sinker. But sometimes it would get a little bit arm side movement. So I would always have to readjust and focus and try to get more depth on it. So always have that in your mind. The last pitch, it's a pitch that I threw and I called the super sinker. I created it one spring training, and it was just like a 4-seam version of the sinker where I was gripping it right here. So I would split. So if you're throwing like my 2-seam sinker right here, you'd run up the ball and then split this lace right here. I would hook my middle finger right here on this side of the ball, kind of put my pointer finger just down below it, but it was the middle finger that was hooked. Again, I'm more in line with this finger, so there's more ball coming out this way. And then I was doing the same exact thing. I was just trying to rip over top of this as I released it, and this middle finger would just rip down, but then I would have 4 seams kind of working for me. So the difference on this pitch that I found, and I used it every once in a while after that, this was later in my career, so it wasn't like a pitch that really got me to pro baseball, but it was a pitch that I developed in pro baseball. And I didn't use it often, but I broke it out once in a while when I really needed it. Earlier on in my pro career, I had a coach teach me what was called a BP fastball pitch, or a dead fish, okay? And basically I started throwing that pitch when I had a runner on first base, and I just wanted to throw a pitch up there that I knew the batter would hit into the ground. So really I took a little speed off of it and really tried to sink it. So that's when I later on, I turned that pitch into the super sinker. So basically what I would do is, again, grab it how I showed you, and then I wouldn't try to throw this max effort. I would just take a little bit off. It was more like a BP fastball, and I would just try to get that tight spin, boom, off of that middle finger, 4 seams, and it would kind of be a little bit bigger, if that makes sense. A little bit bigger, a little bit loopier, still fast. I was still throwing it fast. It was in the 90s, but it wasn't quite 96. So that little change of speed, it wasn't quite a change up, but it was a change of speed enough to where guys would hit on top of the ball. And I wasn't necessarily trying to have a swing and miss pitch right there. I was just trying to let them beat it in the ground and get a double play, versus a swing and miss where I get ahead of them 1 strike and maybe even strike them out the next pitch. But now 2 outs is way better than 1, you know, so sometimes it came into play. So anyway, those are the 3 types of sinkers. I hope you liked this video. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'd love to answer them if I left anything out. It's been a while since I made a video. I'm so sorry. I'm back now. I'm actually moving, so this is probably one of the last times you're gonna see this office. I'll probably have a new office in the new house. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes, but thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider shopping YouGoProBaseball.com for all your baseball training equipment needs. We've got a ton of great stuff over there, especially for you pitchers. We got portable pitching mounds. They fold up, roll real easy. Awesome for training indoors, outdoors. We got the King of the Hill leg drive trainers. If you got a pitcher who's working on trying to create that ground force so they can pitch faster and use their legs better, got to go check that out. We've got the J bands. We've got all types of pitching tools that'll help your pitchers become better quickly. Also, hitters, we got the mini wiffle ball pitching machines. You guys love those. We've got a ton of great stuff. Not a huge catalog over there. I only put up products that I know, trust, and believe in. So again, if you like this video, please consider shopping at YouGoProBaseball the next time you're looking for your training equipment. I'll put the link down below. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.